All right, Jake, our first pick'em video for the week is going to be all top 25 matchups. And man, last week, I'm trying to think of the right word: preposterous, detrimental, uh, worst betting weekend of my entire life. I mean, any of those work. I got absolutely hammered. I didn't do well in our BroThrow picks either. And now I'm 10 and 11. So you've had some better luck, but I need to catch fire.
Yeah, NFL was horrible for me too, but that's why we stick to college football here. I went 4-1 in our video last week, moving me to 16-8 so far in the season. So 66% winning percentage is pretty happy with that so far.
Our first game we're going to talk about today is Colorado at Oregon. You know, last weekend I had to stay up until I think about midnight to watch that Colorado State game. I already lost because I took Colorado, but there's just something about watching The Rock and all those other celebrities who were on the sideline. I just wanted to know what was going on. And this week it's going to be no different. There's a lot of excitement because now Colorado's got a real opponent in Oregon.
I just want to know where all those celebs were for the game that we were at.
Yeah, people didn't come to the daytime game. 10 a.m. kickoffs for Nebraska, Colorado aren't as appealing. This one will be an earlier kickoff too. This is at noon. Oregon minus 21. I don't want to say it's disrespectful to Colorado because I think it's justified. But at the same time, Oregon hasn't been the elite team that I thought they would be. Granted, they've only played one formidable opponent. The other two were Hawaii and Portland State. So I watched them play Texas Tech. What was that, 2 weeks ago? They barely escaped. Texas Tech threw a late interception, and Oregon made it out as an 8-point winner. And I'm not saying Oregon's not a good team or that they won't cover this week, but it's not like we're talking about Georgia from last year or Bama in dynasty mode. They gave up 450 yards of offense in that Texas Tech game. And like I said, they only won by a touchdown, even though they were +4 in the turnover margin. So it makes me think this spread might be, or at least it sounds like to me, just as ridiculous as what we were talking about with +20.5 against TCU. Now, here's the difference between TCU and Oregon. You've got a legit Heisman contender with Bo Nix, and he's played in dozens of massive games, so it's not going to phase him. This is nothing new. It doesn't matter who the coach is, the Dion hype, whatever social media is saying. Bo Nix is locked in. He's ready to basically score on every single drive, and that's what the total's telling us at, what is it, 70.5. I'm going to guess Colorado is going to play with a ton of pride. And even though they played terribly last week, they're not going to quit. We saw against Colorado State, they got woken up and they realized they aren't invincible the way they thought they were. So my guess is Colorado can score 30 points on these guys. So I like the over. I'm also going to ride the +21. The scare last week makes me feel a lot more comfortable in this situation. So hopefully Dion and his team are more focused this time.
Yeah, I think TCU was just very overrated to begin the season, and Nebraska just played as poorly as they could at the quarterback position, giving Colorado like four additional possessions, almost all in the first half, just off turnovers. So I think they looked a little bit overrated based on the results of those two games and kind of came back to earth against Colorado State. I agree with you. 21 points is a lot of points, but Oregon is a very, very good team, and they might score every single possession on Colorado, especially with Travis Hunter missing this game and the next couple after that nasty hit lacerated his liver. Usually, with an internal organ injury like that, that might be an entire season-ending injury. I don't know how you're going to come back from a lacerated liver in only 3 weeks, but Travis Hunter is a freak athlete. So if anyone's able to do it, it's him. I'm with you on the over. I think Colorado is going to score plenty of points in this game. Dion's got his kids playing really, really well on offense, and he wants Shador to put up numbers. And I don't see them getting many stops. So I like the over 70.5 for sure in the spot.
High number, but if anybody can do it, it's two quarterbacks who are running for the Heisman. Next, we've got Ole Miss at Bama -7. And this is always an interesting matchup because you've got Lane Kiffin versus his former head coach. What are you thinking?
Yes, Saban and Kiffin were together on a national championship winning team, except Saban fired Kiffin the night before the game for allegedly maybe having some intermarital affairs with Saban's own daughter. But Saban has definitely played Kiffin pretty tough in the past. But Saban did lose to one of his assistants 2 weeks ago against Texas and Steve Sarkisian. Not to mention, last week against USF, they looked horrible. We're only scoring 17 points. They moved to Tyler Buckner at quarterback and then benched him pretty much immediately because he was that awful. They're going back to Jalen Milroe for this game, and I think that's absolutely the right move. He definitely seems to be the quarterback who gives them the best chance to win. And if anything, I think this is actually going to give Jalen a lot of confidence now that he knows he's 100% the guy. The fans aren't questioning him, the coaches aren't questioning him. So I think they're actually going to play a little bit better on offense. 5 straight years in this game, it's gone over 54 combined points. Bama's defense, as we saw against Texas, not as strong as it's been in years past. So I think both teams are going to be able to put up some points in this game. I'm going with the over 54.5. I have no idea where to go on the spread on this game. I just don't know how to trust Jalen Milroe given 7, but I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, now that you tell me that it's gone over 54 and a half the last 5 years, it makes me question, maybe I do need to make this an official play. Not going to still, and I'm too scared to bet against Saban at home, so I won't. But if there was a coach who I thought could pull off the upset, I would say it'd be Lane Kiffin against an offense that up to this point has been pretty questionable. Next up, we've got UCLA at Utah minus 4.5. And UCLA's 1-6 in their last 7 meetings. And outside of the 10-point win last year, Utah never lets it get close. UCLA's toughest game so far was against SDSU on the road, and the Utes are battle tested after they beat Florida for the second year in a row. But here's the problem: Utah's using backup QBs who can't max out the offense the way that Cam Rising could, and UCLA's got playmakers on D who can limit that offense the same way that Baylor did just 2 weeks ago. Here's my thought: Dante Moore, true freshman at UCLA, the quarterback, he's only getting better as the weeks go on. So I'm going to ride with UCLA. I'm going to take the 4.5 because I think they've got the offense that's going to score enough, and I think they could potentially win outright.
I think it's tough to trust a true freshman quarterback going into an atmosphere like Utah. You know, the fans are going to be absolutely raucous. They're going to be making his life a living hell. Snap counts are going to have to be justified. I don't know if he's ready for all that pre snap play. I like Utah to win this game, but I think UCLA can stay within 4.5 and maybe beat Utah by 3. This is a tough one. I might stay away from here, but that's my view of it. Is Utah by 3?
Well, you've got another game coming up, another close spread, Ohio State at Notre Dame. This is a night game. I'm pumped to watch it, but I don't know. What's the read?
Yeah, similar to my thoughts with Dante Moore right there. This is Kyle McCord's first ever game, true road game into a raucous environment. Notre Dame is going to be absolutely rocking. The fans there go absolutely crazy. Night game, a revenge game from last season. They played last year in Marcus Freeman's first ever game as coach. Ohio State won that game pretty easily. Then Notre Dame goes on and loses to Marshall, and Marcus Freeman gets completely, destroyed by the media and laughed at by fans. I'm sure he hasn't forgotten that, and he knows exactly who caused it. It was that Ohio State game. So I think that Notre Dame is going to be playing with a lot of motivation. They've got a new quarterback in, the best quarterback on the field, the best overall player on the field in Sam Hartman. Their running back Estime leads the entire country in running yards. Hartman, 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think they've got a solid defense. I'm leaning Notre Dame outright on the money line. I'll take the 3 points to be safe, but you got all the factors with the quarterbacks, McCord in his first environment. I'm rolling with the Irish here. I like how they've looked this season.
Earlier this week, I saw the line at Notre Dame +7, or I guess last week before these last games. But I still like the 3 because it's at home at night. The energy feels brand new in South Bend. And like you said, there's something sitting inside of Marcus Freeman's gut. And it's not just his, it's that entire team who went and lost on the road last year. So give me Notre Dame plus the points, but I like them outright. Next, we've got Iowa at Penn State. Spreads 14.5. I think it's going to be a whiteout. Iowa's wearing black pants. Now, the whiteout games don't guarantee wins, but a top 15 defense playing one of the worst offenses in the country usually does. The half point's what's really messing with me here because Iowa rarely gets blown out, and their defense is usually strong enough to keep the scores low and not let them get out of hand. But here's the thing. Last week, Penn State picked Illinois off 4 times, and that one went to 43. And Cade McNamara isn't going to be that loose with the ball. So I'm going to take the over here, and I'm going to expect McNamara to be able to sustain a few drives and probably get to the 20-point range, although I still hate this offense. Usually that'd mean that I'd like Iowa too, since the spread's pretty big, but I just think there's a chance for a blowout. So I'm going to stay away from the spread, just take the over.
Yeah, Penn State's been very good to us this season. They've done well covering, I think, all 3 games so far. The 14.5 would be a little tricky. I just don't necessarily believe in Iowa's ability to score on Penn State. Penn State's defense is one of the best in the entire country. Their offense is doing just enough to get the ball into the end zone and doing what they need to do. I think with such a big spread at 14.5 with such a low total, system play almost dictates that you have to take Iowa in the points here. If the books are saying the game is going to be somewhere around, 24-10, uh, or 27-13, I guess, with a 40-point total is the exact prediction. But I don't know. I think that that Penn State is not going to be able to score 27 on Iowa, and if they do, Iowa's probably going to be putting up some points of their own. I don't see a blowout happening either. I'm leaning towards Iowa in the points here.
Yeah, it does sound like a system play. I I got to make it an official one though, so I'm gonna take the over. But again, it's sketchy. Next, we've got Oregon State at Washington State. The spread is 3. Home night game for Washington State. If you want to bet on this game or any of the other games we've talked about, or the NFL or any other sport, you can go to brothrow.com/YouTube. I linked it below in the description. You can sign up there for free. There are no withdrawal requirements. There's no deposit required. You can sign up from any state in the US and play for free. So you've got plus 100 odds on the spread, as you can see on the screen. It's also plus 100 odds for the total. Money lines are better than you'll see at any sports book. Just sign up for BroThrow, try it out, and that's where Jake and I are making these picks, and that's why we always say the plus 100 odds and why our units always match up, whether it's a win or a loss. But anyway, let's get back to the Oregon State-Washington spread. 3, Jake, what do you like?
Yeah, the Pac-2 Super Bowl. These are the two teams still remaining in that conference, and look at that. They're both ranked. You'd think that some conferences might want to pick them up. They've got some decent programs there. But I'm going with Oregon State in this game. They're 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. This season, DJ Uyunglele, their new quarterback, they've used him really, really smartly, as we predicted that they would. He's gotten a rushing touchdown or more in every single game. They basically use him as the goal line back. They're letting Damian Martinez run the ball from 20 to 20. And guess what? He's top 10 in the country in rush yards. And then DJ finishes it off. Wazoo has definitely played better competition so far this season, and quarterback Cam Ward has looked great. Pac-12 has had no issues with offense, as we said the entire preseason in all of our prediction videos that these offenses are going to look good. But I think Oregon State's the better overall team. Their defense has looked a lot more solid, and I think that their offense is doing enough to get it done. So I'm taking Oregon State to win this game minus 3 points.
Yeah, I know Wazoo's getting a lot of respect for being at home at night, and obviously because they beat Wisconsin. But this isn't Wisconsin. Oregon State's more polished with coaches who've dialed in their system for years now. So I'm going to give the points no problem, and I'm going to take Oregon State with you. But thank you, Jake. I'm going to see you in the next video. We'll talk about our other favorite bets for this week.